All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. This is Mr. Huff. We're going to talk about Unit 5, Lesson 7 briefly today. It's going to be a little bit different because Unit 5, Lesson 7 is an activity that we have dropped. So you don't actually have to complete this activity. However, there's a couple of things here that I think are worth at least mentioning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through this and talk about it. But again, this is an assignment you don't have to complete. But like I said, I think that there's some good from going through it. So we're going to go through it. So here we go. Let's get started. Again, Unit 5, Lesson 7, Assuming a Judicial Role. Now that you've learned about the judicial process and judicial review, imagine being a Supreme Court justice who must rule on the constitutionality of cases. Consider the qualities you think would make for a good Supreme Court justice. Recall how the Supreme Court made decisions in the case studies you have examined. In this lesson, you'll apply your knowledge of judicial review and the rights and freedoms present in the Constitution to a hypothetical or imaginary legal scenario. This lesson will include activities to help you prepare a judicial opinion and participate in the discussion with your peers. Again, that's the part. You're not going to do that part, but anyway, that's kind of the idea. Okay, and it says to go and take a look at the amendments because that's going to help you in formulating your opinion. I'll let you do that on your own. Okay. Reviewing the rights. Use a concept web and the 27 amendments to complete this activity. In the middle square, write whether you think the law you chose to review is constitutional. In the surrounding squares, explain which amendments, rights, or protections support your decision. Some of these will be more directly applicable than others, depending on your decision. Ultimately, you will choose the First Amendment and one other amendment on which you write your judicial opinion. Again, you're not going to actually write this, but they use the Constitution, they use these amendments to justify how they rule in certain cases. Now, we've looked at some of these cases in the unit. Holt v. Hobbs, for example, is a case where the prisoner wanted to grow his beard out long because that's a religious expression, but the prison itself said, no, that's a safety hazard, and so that went to the Supreme Court. Does a man in prison have the right to express his religion by violating the rules of the prison, in this case by growing out his beard? So they had to rule on that and, kind of look at, well, what does the First Amendment say? And, how far does that freedom of speech go? How far does that freedom of religion go? And, there's some other cases here. Walker v. Texas Division, Sons of Confederate Veterans, deals with vanity license plates. Does the Sons of Confederate Veterans, an organization, have the right to have a vanity license plate, a personalized license plate with the Confederate flag on it, for example? Snyder v. Phelps deals with a group called the Westboro Baptist Church, which express their religious and political views by protesting at the funeral of soldiers coming back from Iraq. And so that's kind of an interesting case to look at. Where does right of freedom of speech and freedom of religion kind of clash with the beliefs of others? So it's kind of an interesting case. But those are the sorts of things that the Supreme Court has to deal with. Okay? And in this, it kind of talks you through how you're going to write out your opinion. And again, you're not going to write out the opinion, so we'll skip that. Okay? And then you respond to others. Again, we're not doing that part. And let's see. Oh, this is the part I didn't actually do, the hypothetical case. I think this is kind of interesting things to think about. Okay, so what if Congress passed a law to place an age requirement on internet usage in order to try and stop the national cyberbullying crisis? This law would prohibit both public and private use of the internet on any device, phone, tablet, computer, whatever, for anyone under the age of 18. And let's say that goes all the way to the Supreme Court. How would the Supreme Court rule on that issue? This is something to think about. How about this one? Congress passes a law reinstituting the draft for military or civil service in order to increase patriotism, national service, and global understanding of the country. After graduating high school, every student would have to join the armed forces or a diplomatic mission for at least 3 years. due to the sensitive nature of this process, the federal government restricts public opposition to the bill. All right, what if these are hypothetical? They're not real, but what if? And what if that went all the way to the Supreme Court? Would that be legal? Would that not be legal? What do you think? Congress passes a law to establish prior constraint on all social media. Essentially, the federal government would install software on devices that will approve all information before it's uploaded onto social media. All right. What if Congress wanted to pass that law? How would the Supreme Court rule? How would you rule if you were on the Supreme Court? And ultimately, what it comes down to is you have to use the Constitution, have to use those amendments to justify how you would rule. Now, like I said, you don't have to actually go through and do this activity, but I think that thinking about these things is really, really helpful in understanding what the Supreme Court does, how the Supreme Court makes its decisions, and ultimately, what is the power of the Supreme Court. So that's it, guys, for 5-7. You do have your test coming up for Unit 5, so be sure that you're going through and you're going to do your review. We'll talk a little more about that tomorrow, but otherwise, hope you have a great day and take care. We'll see you next time.